See me. If you can hear me and you can see me, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up, all right? Or drop a yes in the chat, okay? Go ahead and drop a yes in the chat if you can hear me, you can see me, all right? So today we are going to have an amazing session where we are going to be looking at how AI is reshaping accounting and HR. So for all professionals here that are looking to leverage or understand if AI is doing more good than damage or is basically taking away our jobs, this is particularly the session for you. All right. So you want to be here, send a message across to everyone out there, drop a link for them to join this session and understand one or two ways they can leverage AI in their jobs today. All right. So with that, before we dive in completely into our session, I would like us to just have a little bit of interaction. All right. I want to know where each and every one of us are joining from. All right. So once again, my name is Mary and I am joining you from Lagos, Nigeria. So for every one of us on this call right now, please go ahead, get into the chat and let me know exactly where you're joining from. All right, fantastic. I can already see Nancy. Hi, Nancy. Nancy is joining us from UK. All right, fantastic. So I'm expecting to see more. Let's get to know each other very quickly before we dive in. All right, let's get to know each other very quickly before we dive in. So I can see Dinat Adeola from UK as well. So a couple of us all are from the UK, okay, which is fantastic. All right, UK people in the house. UK people in the house. All right. So now while we're waiting for others to, give their own introduction or let us know where they are joining from. All right. So once again, I'm just going to dive into our topic for today, which is looking at the future of work. All right. The future of work in AI, all right, especially how it impacts our careers today. A lot of us might have had various questions about making decisions when it comes to AI, right? AI is taking over the world. AI is everywhere you look. AI is in our social media. AI is in our workplaces. AI is everywhere. So how do we still stand a chance to securing jobs? How do we still stand a chance to leveraging the changes that are happening in the workspace in 2016? All right. Now, before we dive into the specifics of today's topic, I would like us to, get to know the company we are, hanging out with today. All right. So we're meeting here with Tenalytics. Now, Tenalytics is a leading edtech company that focuses on providing specialized training in technology skills and delivering comprehensive data consulting services. With over 4 years building the talent for technology workforce, we have helped over 3,000 people transition from their classroom into their first jobs in tech across US, UK, Canada, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Now, we are committed to making the technology sector more accessible through premium experiential training in data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, agile project management, scrum master, cybersecurity, AI engineering, and so many more. All right. And of course, you are continually going to meet a well-specialized team of instructors that have experiences across global companies, giving you their wealth of experience using real-world case studies and enhancing your knowledge in various areas. All right. So once we are done with this particular session, as long as you record your attendance for this particular session, don't worry, you are going to get a hold of the materials that we are going to use today in this session. All right. Now, before we dive in, I would like to introduce all our facilitators for today. Now, first, let me introduce myself. My name is Mary Anene. Just like you can see on the bottom left of my video. All right, my name is Marian Ene, and I am a data, a HR, and an AI professional with a digital transformation specialist with over 6 years of experience in data analytics, data science, HR analytics, and AI engineering. Okay, my expertise is in building data-driven and AI-powered solutions for performance optimization in diverse business processes. I am the team lead of the financial and HR analytics program at Analytics, and I have trained and mentored over 1,000 individuals from project-based learning into tech careers. I have worked across diverse industries, including government bodies, NGOs, marketing, edtech, and most recently technology consulting. And also, I'm an advocate for women in tech, data literacy, and AI-driven innovation. All right, so I'm going to be your anchor for today, where we'll be leveraging the use of AI for decision making. How can AI assist us? How can AI make things better? Or maybe quench that curiosity of what AI is actually doing for us in our day-to-day career. All right. Now, the next person you are going to hear from today is no other than Priscilla Fanama. Now, Priscilla is an amazing professional, and she is a passionate educator, a data expert, and career strategist with close to half a decade of experience in the world of Bitcoin technology and data analytics. And as a growth catalyst at Analytics, she has been instrumental in helping individuals navigate the complex tech landscape, guiding them in closing the right career path or choosing the right career path, onboarding them into data-driven pathways, and providing the support they need to land their first job. Her expertise spans across freelance data analysts, crypto educator, technical support personnel, and tech career coach. With a strong commitment to career transformation, Priscilla has successfully onboarded and mentored over 500 individuals, helping them transition seamlessly into tech and securing meaningful job opportunities. All right. Now, again, I'll remind you, if you want to get a hold of all the materials that we use in this session, make sure to fill out the attendance. All right. Now, with that, let's dive into what we have for today. Okay. So what are we looking at today? Now, today we are going to be working on something special. All right. But before we dive in, let's look at the outline of how our day is going to go. All right. The first thing we want to do is to look at the future of work, right? How AI is actually reshaping accounting and HR, and what AI can actually do for us. Now, the next thing is for us to look at how we can also become financial analysts and HR analysts that do leverage AI for process optimization. And then we'll also look at the growth and internship opportunities that we have to offer with Tenalytics and Amdari. And finally, our special discount offer for you. All right. So if you stick to the end, you are definitely going to be able to, get a hold of all these important opportunities. All right. So now, before we dive in, all right, I want us to understand this. Today, we are going to actually look at how AI is reshaping, the future of works. All right. A lot of us have come through 2020 down to 2025, the advent of ChatGPT into the tech ecosystem. I mean, when ChatGPT came in, there was a lot of buzz around, oh, is AI going to take our jobs? Is AI going to replace us? But soon enough, we realized that AI was basically integrating into the system of work that allowed us to make our work faster, easier, and smoother. But over the years, we've also seen a vast or very fast advancement of AI in diverse areas. Tools are being brought up every day, and a lot of individuals are beginning to be concerned. Is AI still going to be favorable, or is AI actually going to take our jobs this time around? All right. And yes, there are a lot of answers or a lot of questions around it. All right. Let's walk through that question before we start answering if AI is actually going to take our jobs or not. All right. So, questions we want to ask out loud, but sometimes we might be too afraid to ask it because we are not too sure, or maybe we don't even have the right answers, right? Now, the first thing is, will AI make the role I'm preparing for obsolete? Okay, will AI make the role I'm preparing for obsolete? Of course, AI is not, okay, going to make the role you're preparing for obsolete. Here's the reason why. AI is simply going to help you, all right, make the role much more efficient and make it easier for you to carry out the tasks you want to achieve in a specific role. All right. AI is not here to take your job. All right. Let's just put it that way. AI is not here to take your job. Now, another question we would always ask is, am I learning the right skills or wasting my time? Now, with the way AI is coming in into the workforce, into the society, we can see it on social media, we can see it in our workplaces, process automations, and all of that. A lot of individuals are beginning to be worried. Am I sure that these skills I'm learning are still relevant? Are they actually going to impact me in any way? Is there any need to learn these skill sets? The answer is yes. There's still need for you to learn these skill sets. And yes, you are learning the right skills. All right. So most times when we think about AI, we think about it as a replacement to what we do on a day-to-day basis. All right. A replacement to what we do on a day-to-day basis instead of a co-pilot, or rather an assistant. All right. Learning your skill set or knowing how to do your job end to end does not stop you from being able to leverage AI. AI does not understand how to do your job end to end. AI still needs a lot of human regulations to be able to execute some certain tasks. All right. Now, we've all heard about some limitations of AI, which we know that it still needs a lot of human guidance or a lot of human monitoring, human intervention. Now, if you learn your skill set, let's say you get into a program to learn how to use Excel to analyze data and all of that, right? All you need to do is to understand how to also leverage AI in those processes. To do what? To streamline difficult tasks. Let's say things like data cleaning, repetitive tasks that you do on a day-to-day basis that you would normally not want to do every time. A lot of us have heard one or two things about how difficult it is to actually clean up very large amount of data. How about you give that task to an AI that can go through your data one after the other, clean out all the messiness of your data, and just give you a clean data for you to do what? Go ahead and analyze. All right. So every skill set that you learn is only going to be enhanced or made much more easier with the help of AI. But understanding how to apply those skill sets is key for you to be able to engage an AI to help you achieve it. All right. That is another key thing. All right. So another question that we get also is, everyone says learn AI, but what does that mean for you? All right. Now, for everyone is saying, yes, learn AI, learn how to use AI for business decisions, learn how to apply AI in your career and so on and so forth, right? Now, for an accountant or for a HR professional, it basically means eliminating repetitive tasks, removing redundant processes, and handing it over to AI. Now, what are you left with after you've given AI some of your repetitive tasks? You are left with more time to create much more substantial processes and workflows that would enable you to, get faster decision making in different processes. Imagine a task that might have taken you 1 week to achieve, right? 5 days, let's put it that way, to achieve on a normal weekday, right? And then you have the assistance of AI just by prompting it or setting it up in a way that makes the process repetitive for the AI, all right, eliminating the time you use to go through that task one after the other, all right? Imagine that kind of situation. You end up finishing up that workload within, let's say, 2 days or even a day, right? Something that used to take 5 days to complete. You finish this, you wait, you check. It eliminates the hours, the minutes, the time that you use to go through your data row by row, session by session, right? And that is the reason why you need to also understand the aspect of AI even inside of your specifics or your career path. All right. So if everyone says learn AI, yes, it is very much important for you to have an idea of AI, how to apply it to your processes, and how to leverage its abilities in making your own work faster, easier, and able to complete a lot of tasks as quickly as you need to. All right. Now, for the last one before we move on, how do I stand out when tools can already do analysis? All right. Now, for this one, we are going to break it down a little bit further because sometimes when we think about it, we're like, oh, if I give my data set to ChatGPT, ChatGPT can already give me my insights, my feedbacks, and all of that. But I will elaborate on this a little bit more. All right. So let's dive in. Now, when we look at all the questions we've asked, we also need to understand some key things about AI, all right? Now, I've mentioned it, AI cannot take your job. It can only assist you. It can serve as your assistant in creating or making room for faster and easier processes. So AI is not here to erase your career, first of all right? And secondly, AI is changing how work is done, all right? Making processes smoother, more seamless, faster, all right? Making it very, very easy for us to achieve our goals, all right? And finally, roles aren't disappearing. What is actually disappearing is repetitive tasks, okay? What is actually disappearing is what? Repetitive tasks. So roles are not disappearing at all. Repetitive tasks are what is disappearing from a lot of organization. And for you to be able to stand out, for you to be able to move fast and also grab this particular flow or direction of things is also to have mastery of the normal skill sets that you are required to have. And lastly, to also understand how to get AI to eliminate some of the repetitive tasks that take more time when you should be making executive decisions. All right. Now, before we dive in even further, I would like to ask us a question. All right. How many of us have a particular task or a particular process that we do at work that we wish, we didn't have to spend any time on? Maybe just give it to somebody else to do because it's just taking a lot of your time. You don't want to do it over and over again. If you have that, just type in the chat, yes, okay? Just type yes in the chat. I do have that kind of work and I don't want to be in that process of doing it over and over and over again. All right, let's see those responses. I have that kind of task. Yeah, I can see Simeon. Simeon says, yes, he does have that kind of task. Is it only Simeon that has that kind of task? If you have that kind of task that you don't want to see anytime you come into the office is right there in front of you and you just wish that you could snap your finger and it goes away completely, all right? So yes, those tasks do exist for each and every one of us. They may differ, but those tasks do exist, and that is where AI actually comes in. All right, that is where AI comes in into our careers. Now, before we dive in further, let's clarify this again. AI is just a smart assistant that helps analysts work faster, reduce error, and makes faster decisions or better decisions for them on the move. Now, for an accountant, this means helping them process large amounts of data. Let's say they want to go through or build a financial model or do a pricing analysis. Imagine having an AI go through all the data that you need, summarizing the key points or the areas that you need to focus on, instead of you spending hours going through it over and over and over again just to identify patterns or weak points. An AI can summarize what you should be looking out for in your data, what might be missing, and you move on from there to make sure your data is ready for analysis or make sure you have the right reports within a few minutes. The same applies for HR as well. AI helps you understand the data set you are working with, improving hiring process, making it easier for us to make informed decision. And it also helps us to support workforce decision because I mean, if AI has access to the data, it can tell you exactly what is going on. And on the other hand, you are going ahead to make a decision and saving a lot of time in waiting or going through data cleaning and data processing hours. All right. Now, let's clarify this one more time. AI is not here to replace you. AI produces output for you. All right. So let's say, for example, we've given a lot of that, but we have a particular task that we are working on. I would say recruitment analysis, right? I'm working on a recruitment analysis task and I have AI right there for me. And I have some questions which my manager has asked me. How many departments do we still have open roles to fill, right? I impute that into AI. AI gives me a decision. But here is what I can do with, or an output rather. Here's what I can do with the output AI has given me. All right. As a human, it helps me to make decisions as to what is the next move. All right. What next do we need to do? What places do we need to apply more pressure or make faster decisions about? Where do we need to pull out from? All right, maybe there are some roles that are taking a longer amount of days and we are spending so much more money than is required, right? Now, after the AI has given me the output, what am I left with? I'm left with making the decision. Again, I'll say this, AI is not the elimination of human insight into AI processes or AI driven processes, but also the integration of human driven decision making in the processes or outputs that AI has given us. All right. So, for us to be able to apply AI, we should be able to, we should be ready to get value. All right. So, AI plays its part and we also play our part. So, for us to get this value, we allow AI to do what? Do the interpretation, do the repetitive tasks for us. And then the next thing we want to have is, or the next thing we want to apply to that is our judgment, our ability to make decisions, our ability to see where things have gone wrong, where we should ask questions, because AI is not going to be able to see that or know that, right? Things that have been, errors that have been created by other humans might not be easily detectable by AI. It's only working with what you have given it. And you, on the other hand, can be able to judge what it has done and then give it a feedback or move on with the decision that has been projected correctly. Now, you plus AI equals value. All right. So you're not subtracting value from yourself, or in some situations, we say subtracting aura from yourself, but instead, you are adding more aura, more value to what you are doing or what you are projecting to your businesses. All right. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is to look at a case study where we are actually going to be applying the use of AI. All right. We're going to build a system that processes data and helps us to answer questions very quickly. All right. And then we'll also see the part that we have to play in this particular scenario. All right. So quickly, let's go ahead and look at what this case study is all about. Now, we'll be looking at Rosqua. Rosqua is a growing tech startup company, and this company noticed that despite steady demands in their products, project delivery was slowing down and cost was quietly increasing. All right. So there was an issue going on in the company, slowly creeping in, and they were very much concerned. Why is project delivery coming in slowly? Why is cost, or why is the cost of operation quietly increasing? What is going on? All right. So a task has been given to the HR team where hiring is being done, and the finance team where cost is being deducted from, right? And we want to understand, or we want to be able to connect the dots as to what is going on. Why is project being delayed? And why is cost quietly increasing? Right? So what we are left with now is to evaluate the company's recruitment data, all right? Because right now they are going through hiring, they are trying to increase their hiring process. And if you think about it, when we have delays in projects slowing down, in most cases, is because the staffs that are supposed to be handling it are not enough, right? So in that situation, what happens? The HR department is going to hire more individuals. And if individuals are leaving the organization, they ought to be on steady hiring process. Now, on the other hand, where there's cost, in every recruitment process, there's always going to be cost incurred for each hiring. Hiring is not inexpensive. All right, okay? You don't just go on the street and say, oh, do you want to work here? And that's it, right? You have to screen the talent that you're bringing in. So those things require time, requires processes, and it also requires a lot of resources. So for us to be able to understand what is going on, we have to look into our recruitment data and understand exactly what is happening so that we can make informed decision. But since this is a startup and maybe we just have a few individuals in the organization, we're going to be building a system that allows us to leverage AI and, in the other side of things, get quicker insights as to what is happening. And on our own end, we'll do what? We'll make faster decisions as to how to tackle those things that we've been able to signify or find out through the insights the AI has helped us with. All right. So once we are done building that system, we'll be answering some questions here, such as, are hiring delays affecting our cost? What departments are struggling the most? And where should we intervene first? All right. So, okay, so let's build this AI assisted analytic workflow. All right. We'll be building an agent here today that will be having a look at our data. This is something that you can also try with any kind of AI tool. All right. But this particular system is to show us how you can actually build a specialized system for your own work, for your own organization, if there is issues around data privacy as well. All right. So this system is going to walk us through a process where an AI or a large language model like ChatGPT, and as you can see on the screen here, a large language model like Olama. All right. Now, this large language model is going to help us understand all the inputs or the English we are going to be putting into it to ask questions. What is happening with our recruitment data? What departments have we not filled? All right, how many days is it taking us to fill so and so role, and so on and so forth? And what is it going to do? It's going to get into our data set that we have here, pull data from it, and give us an accurate response. But before we will be able to achieve that, we actually have to build this up. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. All right. So we have our data set here, and let's go ahead and download it. Okay, let's go ahead and download it. So let me just step away from a presenter mode. All right, and I'll go ahead and click on my data set here. All right, so now let's quickly look at that data set before we go on. Okay, so our data set is just a basic or a small data set that gives us a good insight on what is or what a company's recruitment data is going to look like. And based on the fact that this is a very small company, they do have a small recruitment data spanning across different roles that they are trying to fill, alongside with how long it takes them to fill that role and if the role is actually filled or is still opened. All right, if the role is actually filled or is still open. Now, with the help of a tool called Anything, we're going to be able to build a private system that assesses our company's data and allows us to ask questions about that data, making it faster for us to give insights or reports within few minutes. Okay, so let's dive in. All right, but before I go ahead, I'm just going to go ahead and send this particular document in the chat for us. So for those of us that want to access it, download it, and maybe after this call, go through the process of actually walking through it. All right, you can also do that. All right, so let me just drop this in the chat very quickly. Now, if you haven't filled out the feedback form yet, please make sure to do that so that at the end of this session, you would be able to get access to the recording, the materials, everything completely. So you are going to see that form in the chat. Please go ahead and click on it. All right. Okay, so give me a moment. Let me drop that data set. All right, so now we have our data set in here and we want to look at what this particular data set is saying. So we answer some business questions very quickly. All right, so let's quickly build that workflow. I'm going to go into my NA10 automation workflow that actually helps me to understand, you know, what is going on in my company's data. All right, what is going on in the company's data. So the first thing I actually want to build here is going to be a chatbot that allows me, or a chat box that allows me to speak to my AI, the AI I have built inside of this workflow. First things first, I'll just click on this plus sign. It gives me access to my what we call nodes. Okay, it gives me access to my nodes, and I'm going to pick the trigger, which is going to be a chart. Okay, a chart trigger. All right, so I have a chart trigger here. I don't need to do anything. It's just bringing out the settings area if I need to, turn on something or turn off anything. So I don't need to do anything here. I'll go back. All right. Next thing I want to add is my AI agent. All right. My AI agent is that tool that is going to help me orchestrate a clean walkthrough between the large language model, which is going to serve as the brain for this particular process, and then it's also going to have other documents attached to it to help it understand the questions I am asking. All right, so let's bring all the tools in very quickly and show us exactly how this is going to work. All right, so before we start bringing in other things like the chat model, which is a tool like ChatGPT, okay, the first thing we need to do is to set up this particular AI agent to be competent enough to understand the kind of tasks we want it to achieve for us. All right, so for that, it means that we have to give it a clear instruction of what it is supposed to do. All right, So this AI agent, we're going to make sure that it understands what it is supposed to do, which is to serve as a hiring analyst or an analytics expert, looking through our company's data to understand certain criteria that we need for it to help us make informed decision. All right, so we'll give it a long instruction. So today we won't be able to go through how to actually get that instruction, but we would be able to put in an already created instruction. Now, the getting the instruction is very easy. All right, what do we want to achieve? What kind of responses do we want to have? What kind of personality do we want our agent to have? Do we want it to be a financial analyst, a HR analyst? Do we want it to, basically count data and tell us exactly what is in the data? Do we want it to, add up some certain numbers whenever we request it to take a certain action? Whatever you want it to do, you tell it to do it. All right. So it's like hiring an extra employee to assist you on a day-to-day basis. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and just apply that particular process in here. Okay. And we have our prompt. Now that we have this prompt in here, the next thing I want to do is to go ahead and bring in my chat model. For my chat model, you see that we have a lot of AI that most of us are familiar with, from Google Gemini to DeepSeek and so on and so forth. So that is us leveraging the AI that we know inside systems that can help us make things easier and faster. So for this, I'll just go with the Llama AI. All right, I'll bring that in, okay? And yes, I'm going to leave it at with the settings that we have right now. Okay. And the next thing I want to do is to bring in a memory for my AI. I want to be able to have a level of conversation with my AI without it forgetting what we are discussing about. All right, so the simple memory for our particular workflow is enough. So we are not going to spend too much time. And I'm going to set my memory to, let's say, 15. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so after every 15 conversation or chats, it refreshes and starts again. That is what it is. So for the purpose of this particular walkthrough, I believe 15 is enough. Now, the tool we want to make use of here is going to be our Google Sheet, of course, where we have all our data sets. All right, we want to be able to apply this AI agent into being able to access the information in our Google Sheet seamlessly. All right. So I'm going to go back into my Google Sheet where I have the link. Okay. I can see some individuals are actually in the data set already. Fantastic. Okay. So I'll copy my link here. I'll go to my tools. I want to bring in Google Sheets very quickly. Google. Okay. And right here, I'll just set up the tools. Okay, so operation is already set to get roles. So whenever you have access, or whatever Google Sheet you have access to, what you are basically doing is collecting the data inside of that sheet for the AI agent to use to respond to the operator. All right. Now we have to identify the specific sheet we want this AI agent to make use of. So here I'm just going to go in with recruitment data. All right, so we have a recruitment data and then we have a sheet. So now that we've identified the recruitment data we want to make use of, we can easily identify the sheet, because the sheet is all the information or all the sheets that are available within the data set. So I'll select the sheets, default sheet we have here, and that's it. Okay, so we've been able to build a full workflow, but before we go any further, I would like us to actually test it out to see if this chatbot is actually going to respond. And for us to do that, I'm just going to click on this icon here that says open chat. So we have a sub area here where we can interact with this workflow. So I'm just going to type in hi to test it first of all. All right, hi. And Okay, so you can see all the processes are working through. It's trying to gather intelligence of what we just asked it, the chatbots for say, sending an information to the AI agent who has been set up with a persona to help and accomplish certain tasks. The AI agent takes in the information, sends it to the large language model. What the large language model is simply doing is interpreting to English the information that we've asked for. All right. So this particular workflow is locally hosted, so it's going to take a little bit of time to give a response. But when you have it, on online, right, it goes by very, very fast. All right, so let's just give it some time. It works through, gives us a response, and then we'll start scrutinizing it with more information that are directed to the Google Sheets that we have attached. Okay. All right. So while we are waiting for this particular process to respond, I would like us to have some questions. I would like us to go back into the slide to pick up some of the questions we want to ask. And one of my main questions for this particular chatbot is going to be around understanding the departments that are struggling the most when it comes to hiring or recruitment, the financial cost that is impacted, the expenses that, yeah, the financial cost basically, the amount of days and the names of the department. I want to know everything, all right, without looking at my data. Let's say we have hundreds and hundreds of roles, right? This is exactly a system that helps us get through it faster. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead here back into our chart. Okay. So we can see that it's going into our system, which is the data set. It's basically going through every particular process that we have just to understand this. So I'll go ahead and stop this process. Okay. I'll just go ahead and stop this process. Okay, so we can ask it a question that directly fits what its characteristic has been made of. Okay, so right here, I'm just going to go ahead and put in this question: which departments are struggling the most? All right, so it goes into the system, goes through the Google Sheets. Once it gets its response from the Google Sheets, it sends back to the model, and then it gives us a fine response from there. All right, so let's just give it some time. Once it's done, we move on to the next aspect of things. Okay, so it's picking up the data, going back, and then computing a response for us. All right. So while we're waiting for you to respond, okay, I'm going to go ahead and hand over the session to uh, Priscilla. So Priscilla is going to be coming up to let us know exactly how we can leverage this knowledge or this skill set in becoming a financial analyst, a HR analyst in the tech ecosystem and using the knowledge we have to impact businesses and also integrate the areas of AI into our career paths. All right. So yes, let's go ahead. Hi, Priscilla.
Yeah, hi Mary. Confirm that you can hear me, please.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. Hello, everybody. If you can hear me clearly in the chat, please leave a one. If you can hear me, I'm audible. Kindly leave a one in the chat so I know that we're all here before I, go on to the other part of the session. All right, please just leave a yes in the chat. It's supposed to, after the practicals, it's supposed to be very interactive where I get to show you how you can get into HR analytics or even financial analytics. All right, so I see Tony, I see Simon, I see Bemi. Beautiful. Okay, so I hope we've had a good time so far, with the practicals, learning how to use AI, right? Incorporating AI into your job as an accountant or even as an HR professional. Right. So I've got a couple of questions for us before we get started. I just want to pick your brain for a bit. How many of us, possibly got into this session or before this session, we got in feeling scared that AI will take our jobs? If you had that mindset, please leave a yes in the chat. Right. This is just so we get to interact a little bit before we go into the other half of the session. If you at one point in time felt like AI is going to take your job, either as an accounting professional or as an HR professional, please leave a yes in the chat. Right. So I'll just be looking forward to your response in the chat, right? So that I get to hear what you've thought of so far as regarding AI. So please those leaving the first yes or no. You can leave a note though if you're so confident you've never felt like AI is going to take your job. Please leave a no in the chat. But if you at any point in time became scared, right, that AI is going to take your job, right, leave a yes. So Mary, absolutely fantastic. Mary says no. Olusegun says no as well. That's really beautiful. All right, that's very, very beautiful. I need some more responses in the chat, so just keep it coming, right? So we get to interact a little bit. All right, so iPhone says no as well. That's fantastic. Okay, so I like it that we came into this session fully conscious and aware of who we are, right? And how AI isn't just going to come and take our jobs, right? And I know you already know what it is already. AI is not going to take your job, right? It is people that know how to use AI that would eventually, right, take your job. But literally, we've seen what it means to, incorporate AI into your workflow, right? Either as a HR professional or a financial analyst. And this half of the session, this other part of the session, is just supposed to show you how you can get started. Okay, so while there are certain career paths that AI is not even going to touch at all, AI is not going to take your job. There are some other parts that it would actually just disrupt the flow in that career path, right, and take over majority of the stuff. So what you want to do is just to ensure that you're always on the good side of things. You're always in the career path that is indispensable, so to say, a career path that isn't just going to fizzle out, right? And one thing I'll show you here today is, how, being a financial analyst or a HR analyst is you being AI proof. Okay. And then how can we get started in these career paths as AI, as financial analysts, or even as HR analyst as well. So I'll just, delve into how you can get started because of the truth, like I said. We all know that if you think about it, right, the way accounting used to be back then, just records, bookkeeping, that has changed and is constantly changing, right? So it is literally accounting professionals that have incorporated AI into their workflow that will become indispensable. And I'll show you that, in this session. Okay. But before we get started, I want to know, okay, so what is it for you really? Is it financial analytics or HR analytics? Just leave that in the chat. What are you looking to become, right? Are you an accounting professional looking to become a financial analyst, or you're just the HR professional looking to become a HR analyst? Just leave that in the chat. Financial analyst or HR analyst, which one are you looking to go for? Please just, leave your response in the chat. Okay, Lushegun says financial analyst. Beautiful. Simon says financial analyst. Who else? So no HR professionals in the building, apart from, Mary. I know that Mary is HR. Beautiful, baby. All right. So we have some people going for financial analytics, and we have some other people going for HR analytics. And I'd like to assume that the purpose for you getting into that career path is to get a job, right? Just leave that in the chat. The purpose for you, Simon, Shagun, Bemi, getting into financial analytics or HR analytics is to get a job. Fantastic. Or for those of us that even have jobs or looking to get good promotions, become more invaluable, beautiful, right? Now, if the purpose for you is to get a job, okay, if the purpose for you transitioning into any of these career paths is to get a job, there are certain things that you have to bear in mind, right? The first thing that I think will be very useful to you and will help you build your confidence is knowing fully well that you're getting into a career path that is high in demand. Right? The first thing that will build your confidence, is knowing fully well and being conscious of the fact that you're not just getting into any career path, that can easily become disrupted by AI, but you are getting into a career path that is in high demand. That is the first thing I need you to know. And I'll show you how. Okay, so like you already know, and like maybe introduced us here at Analytics, we're an educational technology firm, and what we do is to bring education to your doorstep, bring tech to your doorstep, such that you can be in the comfort of your bedroom and you're, gaining invaluable skills that will help you transition into tech. Okay, now tech is really broad, right? Tech is absolutely broad. And for us here at Analytics, the focus is always how do we deliver value. The point is not just to help you get into tech and then just leave you there, but to help you succeed, to help you get a job. That is the goal, right? So we needed to do something because we're going to train you in different tech career paths. We needed to see, what are the career paths that will land you a job the fastest, because tech is very broad. So what are the career path that people can actually consider, right? People looking to transition into tech and all of that. And the first thing we did in order to see, okay, what are these career paths is to do what is called the job board analysis. Right. The first thing we did is to do what is called the job board analysis, right? And by doing this, we went to various job boards, as you can see on my screen, right? Job boards like LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, Monsters, and the like, right? We went on there and we scraped the roles that recruiters were looking to fill up the most, right? Just flow with me, okay? I'm trying to show you how you getting into HR analytics or financial analytics is you getting into a career path that is high in demand, right? Now, like I said, the first thing we did, we scraped this major job boards. We're trying to look for roles that recruiters are filling up the most, right? And we got some of them, a couple of them actually, right, from our analysis, right? And then the second thing we did, because we didn't just stop there, because some of them are really, really roles that are not easy to get into, even if they're in demand, right? Now, we also needed to see a global view, right? We needed to see, okay, what is the world literally saying about these career paths? Are these, even though recruiters are looking to fill those roles up at the moment, are these career paths that will grow in demand, right? So to actually ascertain that these are career paths that will grow in demand, we took a look at the Future of Jobs report by the World Economic Forum. Now, that report is released every 2 years, okay? And the World Economic Forum is made up of your tech leaders, Elon, Jeff Bezos, and the like. So we took a look at the reports, right? Because what they do is to chart the course for different career paths, state the career path that will grow in demand and the career path that will fizzle out. So amongst all of those roles that we were able to see from our analysis, we took a look at the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report, and we're able to narrow them down. Right. So instead of having 20 roles, we're able to narrow them down to about 15 of them. Right. But we didn't just stop there as well, because we know that, people would like to get into this career path and see how it helps their immigration status. Okay. So one thing we did was to also see the regional analysis for these roles. Okay, we took a look at the UK skilled worker visa, right? The eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa, and there are certain roles on there. Okay, and we're able to see that, okay, of all these roles that we have, these are roles that would help people with the skilled worker visa, so long as they're able to get the skills and look for a company that is willing to sponsor, right? That is in the UK. Now, when it came to the US, right, we saw some job titles with highest H-1B acceptance rate. And when it came to Canada, we're able to take a look at the provincial nominee programs. Right now, we didn't just stop there, actually. We also had criteria. Okay. We're looking at career path that would give you ease of learning, regardless of your background. You don't have to go back to school to get a degree before you can transition into these career paths, right? And you just have to learn for a short while. Okay, so that was one big criteria we had: ease of learning, regardless of who you are, a master's student, a care worker, a teacher, a medical practitioner. We needed to look for career path that will not take you the longest of time to learn, right? And a career path that you don't have to go back to school to get a degree before you can transition into. That was the first criteria we had, apart from all of this, our analysis. Now, the second thing we took a look at was ease of transitioning, right? Remember, it is not just to learn. How do you learn in such a way that you're able to get a job? Okay, and you're not getting into a career path that is just in demand right now, right? But these career paths are paths that will grow in demand. And the third thing we had to ascertain as well was career path that will give you really good money, because in as much as people want to get into tech, most of us are doing so because it pays really well. So after all of this put together, we came up with 10 different career paths. Remember, tech is very broad, but here at Analytics, we've been able to streamline the career path that are in demand right today, not just in demand today, but will continuously be in demand, right? Career path that you can learn easily. You don't have to go back to school to get a degree before you can get into these career paths. And these led us to 10 different career paths. And if you can see on my screen, amongst this 10, you would definitely see the HR analyst, right? The HR analyst for BIMI, right? And you would see the financial analyst as well. Okay, you'd see the HR analyst and you'd also see the financial analyst. All right. So you get to see that this going into HR analytics, right? Going into financial analytics, this is a career path, that will continuously grow in demand. And if you successfully transition into this career path, you will definitely be a hot cake. Right. So that being said, I hope that gives you the much needed confidence. Now, what I've also done here, on this slide is to also add snippets of the Future of Jobs reports by the World Economic Forum here. Right. What I want you to do is to fill the attendance form, right? So that as soon as this session is done with, you can just go over each of the slide and you're able to just read through. There's also the link to the Future of Jobs report here on my slide. right? Now, this is a snippet of what the report says actually. To the right, you'd see roles that are growing in demand. To the left, you see roles that are, to the right, you see roles that are declining in demand, right? All of these roles here are roles that are declining in demand, okay? To the left, you'd see roles that are growing in demand, right? And you definitely see that your financial analyst, your HR analyst are amongst these roles that will grow in demand. Okay, so I'm sure we all know that the HR analysts, the financial analysts, they're all data analysts, but they've now niched down to handling either financial data or HR related data. So through the training at Analytics here, you're able to either as a financial analyst get into data analytics, right? That is why the first thing you see here on my screen is data analyst, right? Because as a financial analyst, you are a data analyst. As a HR analyst, you are a data analyst, but you're now niche down to working on specific types of data, right? And then, of course, here you see boldly the financial analyst. Remember, to the left, these are career paths that will grow in demand. Okay. And then you'd also find the HR analyst as well. So if you're that person, that accounting professional, looking to become invaluable, right? I'll show you something here on my screen. The more reason why you need to get into financial analyst as an accounting professional. Okay. Remember, to the right, you would find roles that would decline in demand, and you'd see accountants boldly written here, accountants and auditors, right? These are roles that will decline in demand. Tell me, right? Why don't you want to upskill? The more reason you need to upskill is because, accountants are roles or are professionals, that would most likely be disrupted with the whole advent of AI. Their jobs will be disrupted by the advent of AI, right? But if the accounting professional adds data analytics to what they do, they become financial analysts and then they become invaluable, right? So just ensure that you're filling the attendance form so you get to see, right? You get to go over the slide, visit the reports, and you can see for yourself that if you're deciding to go for financial analytics or HR analytics, you're getting into a career path that is currently in demand, right? And one that is also growing in demand. Okay, now getting into this career path, deciding if it's financial analytics or HR analytics, that's just one step. Okay. Now, the next thing you need to definitely put into consideration, especially if your goal is to get a job, just like we've been able to share in the chat, right? If your goal is to be able to get a job, it's not enough to know that, okay, this is a career path that will grow in demand. In as much as it is growing in demand, there are certain things that employers would want from you, right? There are certain things that employers would want from you, and getting into a career path with full knowledge, right? That this is what employers want from me just sets you apart. Right. So imagine deciding I want to go into financial analytics, right? And I know what recruiters want from me. I know what employers want from me. I'll stay focused on those. And within the shortest possible time, I will be able to get a job easily. Right? That is you being strategic, knowing what employers want from you. And for everybody on this call, if you don't take anything away from this call, I want you to keep this in your mind. Right? Transitioning into a career path, it's not enough to just decide, oh, I'm going for financial analytics, right? You need to know what employers want from me, because I'm very certain that for all of us here on this call, we know at least one person that has tried to transition into tech for the longest. They've been trying for 2, 3 years, binge watching videos on YouTube, taking courses and all of that. But still yet they are unable to get jobs. Right. So you being strategic about it sets you apart. Knowing what you want to do, knowing what employers want from you sets you apart, right? And in the tech space, a lot of us tend to think that, oh, recruiters would definitely want certifications, right? We forget that this is unlike your traditional education or learning process where you want to get a job, you have to have a certificate, a BSc, and all of that. Just show your certificate and all of that. It is quite different here, right? What recruiters want from you is competence. Right? They want you to be competent, right? And competence is made up of just two things, right? Competence is made up of two things, skills and experience. So I need you to know that getting into the tech space, employers want only two things from you, skills and experience. And what this does for you is to help you stay focused on the things that are important. Right? Stay focused on the right skills, right? Stay focused on gaining experience. Okay, so you definitely see here that certification is not even a part of it, right? Employers want two things from you, skills and experience. And just to, help you buttress that the more, imagine you have this car you're trying to fix. Right? You have this really good car, say Bugatti, and you're trying to fix, right? Now, you can choose between two engineers to fix your car. The first person tells you, oh, I have certification from Harvard, right? I can fix your car, right? I went to school in Harvard. This is my certification, right? Best graduating student. I can fix your car, right? And the next person shows you, the other engineer shows you their workshop, right? These are the cars I've been able to fix, a Bugatti, a Ferrari, and all of that. Which one would you go for, literally? Just leave that in the chat. Is it the engineer that is telling you, I have a certification from Harvard? Right? That's the first option. I have a certification from Harvard. I can fix your car. Or the engineer that is telling you and showing you, this is my workshop. These are cars that I've been able to fix. Which one would you trust your Bugatti with? Right? The first option or the second option? Absolutely. Show workings. Right? You definitely need to know that this person has done it before. They have the experience. They can do it for me. They can fix my car. I don't just want them to have certificates. Now, that is the exact same thing that employers want from you, right? The skills, right? They want to see that this person has done it before, right? They can still do it again for me. Right? Skills and experience. Bear that in mind, right? So we'll move ahead. Now, getting into financial analytics, what are the skills you need to have? Right? What are the things you need to learn that will set you apart? The things you need to learn that will make you invaluable, right? We have them here on my screen. Okay, the tools you need to learn, the things you need to focus on learning. And the very first of them is problem solving. Right. Because as a financial analyst, right, helping the company make sense of their financial data, literally showing them, okay, this is how much you'll be making in 5 years. This is when we're going to break even, right? This is how much capital is required of us to start this business. Right? As that professional that can turn the company's financial data into insights that they can leverage on, the first thing you need to learn is problem solving. You're there to solve problems, right? So with the first thing we teach you here at Analytics is how do you approach problems as a financial analyst? Okay, then you learn Excel, right? Which is like the bread and butter of every single financial analyst. Okay, so you get to learn Excel, right? You get to learn Power BI. Through these tools, you're able to analyze your financial data, right? And then you learn SQL, structured query language. Okay, then here at Analytics, we like to assume that every single person coming into our training program is a complete beginner, right? Every single person looking to transition into tech, we like to assume that they are complete beginners. And what that helps us do is to start from the very scratch. So, of course, we'll go back to accounting fundamentals, right? The various accounting principles and the likes, okay? Then we take it to financial analysis, right? How do you do your profitability ratio analysis and the likes? Okay. How do you tell a company that even though we're making so much in revenue, we're actually not profitable? Okay. Then we take it to financial modeling. Okay. These are things you need to learn as well. Financial modeling. Okay, how do you tell a startup this is how much capital we need to start this company? How much of these goes to equity? How much of these goes to debt? Right? Then you have valuation as well. How do you value a company? Right? Then you also go into sensitivity and scenario analysis. Remember that as a financial analyst, you're trying to project the financial performance of the company. Now, they would have their goals, right? If we sell 50 products at $1,000, this is how much you're able to make and all of that. Okay, but what if the government comes up with policies that are unfavorable to the company, right? This is where your sensitivity and scenario analysis comes in. Then you get to learn AI, how to use AI as a financial analyst. Then you also get to learn ChatGPT for analytics, right? These are the things you need to focus on if you are looking to become a financial analyst. A financial analyst breaking into the tech space, getting your first job, right? Upskilling, getting a promotion. These are the things you need to stay focused on. Problem solving, Excel, Power BI, SQL, accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, financial modeling, valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, as well as ChatGPT for analytics and AI, right? These are the things you need to learn. Now, when it comes to the HR analyst, what are the things you need to learn? Right? Of course, remember I said that you're there, you're a data analyst, but you've now niched down to working on human resource data. Okay, so you'd also get to learn the data analytics part of things, your problem solving, right? How do you approach problems as a HR analyst? Okay, then you go into Excel, right? You also go into Power BI, then you go into SQL as well. Then you also learn how to track the various HR KPIs and performance evaluation, right? How are you able to tell that between two customer representatives in your department, this person is performing higher than this person, right? How do you evaluate their performance? What are the metrics you should track, the KPIs that you should track for employees in the company to show that they are performing? That is the first thing you need to learn. Then you also learn absenteeism and attrition metrics. Okay, then you go into compensation and pay equity analysis, collaboration and recruitment tracking automation, human resource management system, AI, and ChatGPT for analytics, right? These are the things you need to learn if you are looking to go into HR analytics. Right now, remember, we said employers want two things from you, skills and experience. We've seen the skills that you need to learn, right? These skills transcend the borders of nations, right? Excel in UK is Excel in the US, right? So how do you do all of this, right? How do you get all of these skills? This is where Tenalytics comes in. Now, to the second aspect, right? How do you learn if you want to land a job? Especially, remember, if the focus for you is to get a job, how you learn has to be very strategic. I cannot overemphasize this, right? Getting into the tech space and trying to get a job, going for an interview, recruiters would want you to have experience. Okay, they will want you to have experience. Imagine learning, okay, and then they already want you to have experience. How do you even get the experience? That just goes to show you that your learning process has to be very intentional and strategic. In the tech space, they would ask you for experience. Okay, so what that means is while you're learning, you also need to be getting experience. Okay, and here on my screen, you'd see the best way to learn if you want to land a job. Right now, just think about it for a minute. Okay, think about it for a minute. The way that mid-level staff, right, in organizations are able to move up the ladder to senior level, right, it's just by the experience they've been able to gather, right? If you think about it, the way they're able to move up the ladder, even from junior level to mid-level, it's just by experience. And what gives the experience? Projects that they've worked on. right? Projects that these professionals have worked on. Okay, so what that means is if you want to gain experience while you're learning, you need to learn in a project-based environment. You need to be working on projects while you're learning. You need to learn by doing the real work. And this is exactly what you get here at Analytics. You are learning by working on project. And that in turn is giving you the much needed experience that you need. Okay, it's giving you the much needed experience that you need. We've seen the skills that recruiters want you to have as a financial analyst or a HR analyst. Remember, they want you to have experience, right? And to get the experience, you need to learn in a project-based environment. Right? Do the real work. So when they ask you, tell me one time, you used Excel as a financial analyst, you're able to speak from an experience point of view. Or I used Excel for this. I first of all cleaned the data and then I used my pivot chart, used my pivot table. These are the insights I was able to get. These are the recommendations that I gave to the organization as a financial analyst. Now, when you speak to a recruiter that way, they know that you have the experience. Okay. Now, it is not just enough to have the experience. You also need to showcase your work. Okay, you need to showcase that, yes, I have this experience. Because if you do not say that I have the experience and show it, they wouldn't know, right? The recruiters wouldn't know if you do not showcase your work. So how do you showcase your work? Is to basically have all of those projects that you have worked on in a portfolio. A portfolio is just like a showroom. Remember the example I gave where you have an engineer that has a showroom filled with cars that they've worked on and all of that, and they're doing just fine. That is what the portfolio signifies, right? Your showroom. Your portfolio shows that, yes, I have the experience, right? And what you have, in your portfolio are the projects you've worked on while learning. Now, that is the best way to learn if you're looking to get a job. Right. Now, anybody can get the skill, right? Anybody can get a portfolio. So it is not enough to even have that in the tech space. You also need to stand out. And how do you stand out, right? We have something called the employability skills here at Analytics, right? If you go on LinkedIn right now and you search for financial analyst or HR analyst, a couple of profiles will come up. But it will shock you to know that over 70% of those profiles do not have the actual jobs. Okay, so it is not just enough to learn the skills, right? It is not just enough to have a portfolio. You also need to stand out. And this is exactly where your employability skills come in, right? By employability skills, I mean, how do you present yourself to recruiters? That, yes, I'm employable. I have the things you need. Right? Now, the first thing we do here at Analytics is to ensure that you have a proper CV. Now, remember, the goal is to get a job. And then you see an application, you have to submit your CV and all of that. So your CV gets into the room before you do. And what that means is your CV has to speak so well about you. So what we've done here at Analytics is to ensure that we provide you with a standard CV, right? A CV of a financial analyst and a HR analyst, right? We teach you how to, revamp your CV, right? And then, the CV you'll be working with is one that beats the applicant tracking system any day, anytime, filled with the right keywords. Okay, so at the end of the day, you are having a CV that is properly revamped, a CV that contains the right keyword, a CV that contains a link to your portfolio. Now, remember that you'll be learning by working on projects here at Analytics. You're learning by gaining experience. Okay, so one thing you're able to do with Analytics is to have on your CV that you have worked for Analytics as a financial analyst or HR analyst consultant or contractor. Right. You see how beautiful that is. Now, the sole reason why you're able to do that is because of how you learned. You learned by gaining experience, right? Now, your job description in your CV will be, the project you've worked on and the impact of these projects. right? That is exactly what you have on your CV. Okay, imagine you as an accountant scaling up to become a financial analyst. You have your accounting experience on your CV already, and you have an additional financial analyst experience. One you can easily defend any day, anytime because of how you learned at analytics by gaining experience. Now, this is what you're able to achieve here at analytics. And you very well know that as a financial analyst, going through our program, there are some jobs you can apply to. And one key strategy that we emphasize on, you do not use the same CV to apply to multiple roles. Now, each roles carries certain keywords that are peculiar to those roles. What that means is your CV has to carry the right keyword. Here at Analytics, will definitely teach you how to tailor your CV to suit every role you intend to apply for, right? Then we also have what is called the LinkedIn optimization. Okay. Now, a lot of the times you hear people from Tenalytics and they're saying they've been able to get jobs through LinkedIn, recruiters reaching out to them and all of that. If you joined earlier, you would hear testimonials while my colleague was playing that. This is where LinkedIn optimization comes in. Some of the times when we're looking to fill up roles here at Analytics, we go on LinkedIn and we search and we see certain top profiles and we reach out. Right. Now, if you want your profile to be amongst the, top profiles when a recruiter is looking to fill up a financial analyst role or a HR analyst role, right? Your LinkedIn profile has to be properly optimized, right? It has to carry the right keywords that the financial analyst profile should carry. It also needs a link to your portfolio. I'm giving you more like cheat codes now, right? How to optimize your LinkedIn profile. It needs a link to your portfolio. It needs work experience, right? Now, here at Analytics, these are things that we give to you. And we also teach you how to put yourself out there on LinkedIn. What kind of posts do you make? How do you even make these posts? Such that recruiters are able to see you and then reach out to you. Now, they are the ones reaching out, not you reaching out anymore. Right. Now, after we've been able to achieve that with your LinkedIn profile, we have what is called navigating the job market. Okay. Now, what we do here at Analytics, is to teach you how to apply to jobs, right? Teach you how to apply to jobs, right? Then as soon as we're done teaching you how to apply to jobs, we don't stop there. Because the goal for us always is how do we increase your chance of getting a job constantly? How do we increase your chance? Right? Now, apart from teaching you how to apply to jobs, we go ahead, right, and we pay to other job boards, premium platforms, right, where you can get roles that are not available to the general public. We pay without any extra cost to you, right? And we provide you with these roles, remote roles, contract-based roles, and the likes. Okay. And we give them to you on a weekly basis. Your CV properly optimized, LinkedIn profile properly optimized. You know how to apply to a job, right? And then you've gone ahead to see certain key roles at Analytics and you've been able to apply. Now, the next thing is interview. Okay, so we have what is called the interview preparation here at Analytics. What that means is, say you've applied to a role, you see this visa sponsorship role, right, in the UK, and you've applied and you have an interview coming up. It's your first time trying to get a job as a HR analyst or as a financial analyst. All you have to do is just book for an interview prep session with Analytics, right? And you'll have experts, you know, do their findings on the company, right? And then take a look at your CV and prepare you for that interview. Right. Prepare you for that interview. How do you introduce yourself as a financial analyst? Right. How do you answer competency-based questions? Okay. So these are things you get here at Analytics. Now, it doesn't matter the number of interviews you have coming up. If you have 10 interviews, you can have 10 prep sessions. Right. Then we have job reference letters. Remember that on your CV, you'd have Analytics as your work experience. right? Recruiters would reach back to us to, provide reference letters. You definitely need that to stand out. And what we've done here at Analytics is to provide compelling reference letters for you, right? That will tell good stories about you, your conduct at Analytics, and all of that. Right? Then we have something called on-the-job support. Now, just think about it. As that student, teacher, care worker that is interested in getting into financial analytics or HR analytics, you get your first job, and then your first task, is not something you can easily find your way around. Here at Analytics, you have what is called on-the-job support. Now, a lot of our participants don't usually come back for this because of the way they'll be learning by gaining experience, but we still have this open at no extra cost, right? Then we have the weekly mentorship sessions, right? A lot of us want to hear from people that have done it before, people in the UK that have gone ahead to get jobs as financial analysts, as HR analysts, right? People in the US that have done same. Right. Now, what we've done here at Analytics is to have weekly mentorship sessions where we have people that have walked the talk. We have recruiters, we have experts, professionals coming back to walk you through the talk, basically. These are the things you need to do. How do you do the salary negotiation? How do you brand yourself? How do you stand out majorly? And you get that on a weekly basis here at Analytics, right? Then, of course, you have Upwork optimization. Now, Upwork is a freelance platform. Say you want to just do a quick job, you don't want to work full time for a company, you just want to work contract based. Oh, I want to work for 4 hours per day. You easily go on there, you get a job, and then you get paid. So we teach you how to set up your profile on Upwork and how to get your Upwork profile optimized, right? Now, this is exactly how you stand out. Okay, this is exactly how you stand out, right? Gaining the skills, building the experience, right? And getting employable, right? And this is what you gain here at Analytics. Now, all of this single thing I've said, what is the duration to get all of this? Right? Now, the program duration here at Analytics is for 8 months. Okay, looking to get into financial analytics, HR analytics, you need to learn for 8 months. Now, the 8 months is split into 6 month learning, right, which will be done here at Analytics, and 2 months of internship. Okay, now for your internship, we partnered with a company registered in UK. Okay, we partnered with a company registered in UK, and then you get to have your internship with them. And guess what that translates to? Okay, remember on your CV, you have Analytics as one work experience, right? And then you have your internship with this company. So what that means is on your CV, you're able to have two roles, two work experiences with different companies. Now, Analytics is a company registered in Canada. For those of us that come across recruiters that are big on Canadian experience, right? Now, this company that we partnered with is a company, Amdari, is a company registered in London. For those of us that would come across recruiters that are big on UK-based experience, you have that sorted, right? And of course, Analytics is accredited by the American Council for Training and Development, right? So that just means that it is globally recognized. Okay, so this is your program duration, right? You need to learn for 6 months in class and also do your internship for 2 months. Now, how would you learn basically? So what we've done at Analytics is to have a blended learning model, a blended learning approach, because we fully understand that a lot of people, looking to transition, they are working professionals, students, sometimes doing multiple shifts, working professionals doing multiple shifts, and still trying to keep up with family. So we needed to ensure that learning was as flexible as possible. That is why we came up with the blended learning approach. So you have your live classes where you come on a call like this, you talk to your instructor, you work on projects, be it Excel project, remember all of the skills, you come to the live class and you learn. Now, every single live class is for 3 hours. Okay, every single live class is for 3 hours. I remember we're very big on flexibility. So we have the morning and the evening class. right? Now, the morning class is from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. UK time, right? On Saturdays, right? 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. UK time. And you have the evening class, which is 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. Now, you have the ability to choose either of them. If the morning doesn't work for you, you can choose to go for the evening. But basically, the morning is best for people in Europe, UK, Africa, and the likes, right? Then the evening is best for people in North America, Canada, US, because it will be their 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right. So I see some questions in the chat. Just keep them coming. All right. I'll take your questions, certainly. Keep them in the chat. Now, this is how your live classes are structured. And out of 4 Saturdays in a month, you don't need to attend a live class every Saturday, right? You just need to show up 2 out of 4 Saturdays. Okay. 2 out of 4 Saturdays, right? And then you also have the self-paced part of things. Now, Tenalytics has told you you have a live class on Saturdays bi-weekly for 3 hours. With the self-paced, you are deciding when you want to learn and how long you want to learn. So from Sunday through to Friday, you have the opportunity to say, I want to learn for 2 hours on Sunday, right? Monday, I want to learn for 3 hours or more, right? But with the self-paced, you have access to what is regarded as watch me do it videos, right? Videos that contains projects that have been broken down by the facilitator. So you get to watch at your convenience, right? This is how flexible and beautiful it is here at Analytics. Then, like I said, you have your mentorship sessions. Now, your mentorship sessions happen 9 p.m. UK time on Thursdays, right? And then 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time as well for people in North America, right? Now, bear in mind that every single session that you have with Analytics is recorded. Even this one is currently recorded, right? So if you miss any class, miss any session, you have the ability to go back to those sessions, go through the recording, and it's also a lifetime access, right? It's a lifetime access. We have people from way back 2022 still having access to their materials, to their resources. Okay, so it's a lifetime commitment here at Tenalytics. All right. And one thing we've done is remember, you would also be deciding when you want to learn. You decide to go self-paced, right? Watch your projects that have been broken down in videos. Now, while you're going through that, working on that project, sometimes you might have technical issues. And what we've ensured here at Analytics is you can get real-time support from your facilitators every day of the week, whenever you're stuck, right? Imagine going over your video, working on the project. You write an Excel formula, the same formula you're seeing in the video, but it's not just giving you the same output, and you don't know how to go about that. So you can immediately reach out to your facilitator, have them join a call with you or talk you through the problem and have it resolved. And you get access to this every day of the week, right? This is how beautiful it is here at Tenalytics, right? But all of these things, all of it put together, would always seem impossible until you see somebody that has gotten the job. All right. So what I've done here is to attach some success stories of people that have gotten jobs, right? Right here on my screen, you'd see Emmanuel. Okay, so Emmanuel had a background in accounting. So for those of us with accounting background, this should serve as your model, sort of, right? He had a background in accounting, but he wanted to land a high-paying job in the US. So he knew that, oh, I need to upskill, right? I cannot just rely on my accounting background alone. So what he did was to join our financial analytics program, right? And in October last year, right, he was able to secure a job as a senior operations consultant with Bank of America in the United States. Right, went through the learning timeline and all of that, decided, okay, I'm an accountant, right? This is my position right now. I'm looking to go higher than this, right? I need to scale up. So what I've done is to attach the link to Emmanuel's testimonial here in my slide. So if you want to listen to it, for want of time, we won't be able to play all of the testimonials. But if you want to listen to it, just ensure you're filling the attendance form, so that when this is available, the slide, the recording, you're able to take your time, go through and literally listen to Emmanuel, right? I also have testimonials here. I have Chika here, right, that landed a full-time role as a financial analyst in the UK, right? I have Solomon here. Solomon was from an engineering background, right? But he knew that he needed to get into financial analytics. Solomon is currently in Nigeria, right? He came into the program and he was able to get a job as a financial analyst. Then you have Grace that had a fantastic time. Grace is currently in UK, I mean in Canada, right? Then you also have Akintayo here on my slide, right? That is for financial analysts. Then we also have the HR analyst as well, right? I've also, attached pictures of people that have been able to land jobs after learning with Tenalytics. Okay, if you take a look at my screen, you'd see this person writing to us, okay, for reference letter after they've been able to, get interviewed successfully. They needed us to write reference letter, right? And here you'd see, this was sent to the CEO of, I mean, to the founder of Tenalytics, right? I've been given a position as HR analyst with the region of Peel here in Ontario, Canada, right? To the second paragraph, the organization is requesting name of my referees, and I used you as one of my references. Okay, this person got a job as a HR analyst after learning with us here at Tenalytics, right? Then I also have Amaka here, right? Now, remember the job board where I said, would, literally subscribe to premium platforms and have job boards available to you? What Amaka did was to leverage on that, and she was able to, get a job as a HR data analyst, right? As a HR data analyst. Okay. Then you see here on my screen, Sonia, right? Sonia landed her first role as a HR analyst in the UK, right? Immediately after our masters. So for those of us that are currently doing our masters, you don't want to wait till after your masters before you skill up. While you're doing your masters, you can skill up so that as soon as you're done, you're ready for the job market. This is exactly what Sonia did, right? And she was able to get a job as a HR analyst, right? We have Victor here, right? Victor, got a full-time job working remotely from Nigeria for a company in the US, right? This is how fantastic the training here at Tenalytics has been, right? Gaining the skills and all of that. Now, if you want to be part of the people, right, that will, be able to transition and then get a job, what is the next step for you after hearing and listening to all of this? Right? Now, what you need to do to thrive, by thriving, I mean transitioning into becoming a financial analyst or a HR analyst and getting a job, is for you to join our next cohorts, right? That is exactly what you need to do. All right. You've been able to figure that, oh, I want to become a financial analyst or a HR analyst, right? The next thing for you to do is to join our next cohort, which starts on the 7th of February, 2026. This is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Right now, let's go to the cost of the training. Now, the full amount for the training here at Tenalytics, every single thing you'll be getting, the lifetime access and all of that, is 1,250 US dollars, right? 1,250 US dollars. But we have an ongoing discount, right? And with this discount, instead of paying 1,250 US dollars, you get 20% off, a whopping 20% off. And instead of 1,250, all you need is 1,000 US dollars. Right? And to the most juicy part, you see the 1,000 US dollars, you don't have to pay all of it before you are able to take advantage, of this discount and secure your spot. Out of $1,000, what you need right? What you need is 200 US dollars, right? To be able to take advantage of this discount, right? And that is owing to the fact that we have monthly payment plans, right? So if you want to go for pay $200 per month, that means that you complete the entire payment by the fifth month. Let me tell you how this plays out. Right. Imagine you want to take advantage of the discount. The cost with the 20% is $1,000, right? But you have $200 right now, and you're able to secure a slot. What that goes to show you is by the fifth month, you'll be able to complete your payment. For a 6-month learning in class training, imagine completing your payment by the fifth month. You're literally seeing what you're paying for, right? You're seeing what you're paying for through every step of the way. Okay, so it's just a beautiful win-win situation. But as usual, just like every discount will, they come with conditions, right? And the condition for this discount is, it is slot based, open to just 20 persons, right? Open to just 20 persons. We have about 10 slots taken already. So we have 10 slots left, right? So if you want to take advantage of this discount, right, where you get to pay $200 per month, all you have to do is try to secure your slot as soon as you can, which is something I'll be walking you through right away. Okay, so I'll walk you through how to secure your spot as soon as you can. Now, my colleague has put the link there in the chat, right? Just go to the chat, you see the link there. So how do you secure your slot? So that you get to pay $200 and a total of $1,000 at the end, instead of paying $1,250, right? So what you need to do is to click on that link, right? Click on the link in the chat. And as soon as you click on the link, it brings you here. This is the 10Analytics website. And as it brings you here, the first thing you see is the courses that we offer, right? So you see all of the 10 courses that we offer. What you want to do is, if you're interested in financial analytics, look for financial analytics. If you're interested in HR analytics, look for HR analytics. Right? Now, for the sake of this demonstration, I would use the financial analytics. Now, as soon as you see the financial analytics, click on Buy Now, right? Click on Buy Now. And when you click on Buy Now, it brings you here, right? It brings you to this point. All you have to do is scroll down and click on Enroll Now, right? Now, when you click on Enroll Now, it will prompt you to create an account. Right? It will prompt you to create an account, and that you can do in less than a minute. So click on Enroll Now, create that free account, just your name, email, use your password. Right? Now, as soon as you're done creating your account, it brings you to this page where you have to confirm your enrollment. So on here, you'd see the 20% discount applied, right? And you would also see how you can select your preferred cohorts, right? So the next cohort we have, like I said, starts on the 7th of February. So for those of us that want to start as soon as we can, you can choose to go for the February cohort, but we also have the March cohort as well. So if you want to move the program till March, move your start date till March, right? You can choose to click on that. The discount applies to both of them. So I'll click on February and I'll scroll down, right? I'll click on February and I'll scroll down. Okay, so here you would see the payment options, the different payment options. Okay, this is currently showing in US dollars. If you're in Canada, if you're in UK, you have a currency selector at the right here. So just click on it. You can either choose card, right? You can choose euros, you can choose pounds, or you can even choose naira, right? So I would use the US dollars, for this demonstration. Now, remember, I said with a 20% discount, you'll be paying a total of 1,000 US dollars, right? And with the 5 monthly installments, all you need is just 200 out of the 1,000 US dollars to secure your spot, right? For you to get started in February or March and then complete your payment by the 5th month. Okay, that is all you need. We also have the 4 monthly plan. right? Where all you need is 250 US dollars. So you're splitting $1,000 into four, and by the fourth month, you'll be done with the payment. We have the 3 installment as well. Right? Then we also have the 2 monthly and the full payment. Now, if you want to go for the 2 monthly or the full payment, you get a further discount. So instead of $1,000, instead of paying a total of $1,000, all you need is $975.20. That is if you want to pay twice or once. But I'll click on the 5 monthly installment and click on apply discount. Right now, when you click on apply discount, it processes it, applies the discount, and brings you to this page, this checkout page. So, what you want to do is just scroll down, right? It applies the discount. What you want to do is scroll down and you see the payment breakdown, right? Now, if you choose to secure a spot today, the next time your payment will be due will be the 22nd of February. And then you have March, April, and May, right? Let's just say, because this discount will be closing soon, you decided to secure a spot today. But you know that the next time you will not be able to pay on the 22nd of February because your salary doesn't come until the end of the month. You also have the opportunity to edit your payment date, right? So from February 22nd, you can edit it to say February 28th, right? So you have the opportunity to do that here at Analytics. So scroll down, right? Check the box that says I confirm my information is correct and I've read the terms and conditions, and click on Pay Now. It will prompt you to put in your card details, which you can do easily, and then you're good to go. Okay, this is what you need to do in order to secure a discounted. So very simple, very easy. Remember, the discount is slot based. As soon as we have all 20 slots filled up, the price goes back to normal, right? And then you get to pay, you get to pay the entire thing, $1,250 instead of 1,000 US dollars, right? So that being said, I'll go to the chat box and then I would also take your questions at this point, right? I hope that we're securing spots before the discount is over. Okay, so if you have a question for me, about the program, about the payment options and the likes, just leave that in the chat, right? I can see Ade Dakpo's question: after enrolling, how soon can one start applying for jobs, given that the internship? Oh, you don't have to wait till the internship before you start applying to jobs, right? Because while you're learning, remember, you're gaining experience. So like my colleague said, by the fourth month, you'd have learned enough for you. You'd have gotten projects, right, in your portfolio. And you can use that to start applying to jobs. I hope I've been able to answer that question at Dapo, right? So I'm just scrolling up. Olusegun is asking, what of Python for financial analysis? Oh no, you don't need Python for financial analysis at this stage, right? You don't need that at this stage, okay? So as you progress, you can decide to, get all of those additional skills. But what you need to get a job as a financial analyst are the things that I've just, highlighted in the skills you need to learn. So if you've got questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat. We've got like 2 more minutes before we bring the session to a close, okay? So please just leave your questions in the chat. All right. If you've got any question at all, and I'll take your questions. Okay. Now remember, right? The discount is only open for 20 persons, right? And what you need to do is to pay as little as $200. For those of us in UK, I would show you what you need to pay is £153.28, right? To secure a spot, right? And that way you'll be paying a total of £766.40 instead of £958. All right. So that being said, I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. So I'm just going to do the whole roll calling to ensure that you can hear me. If you can hear me and you don't have a question, please just leave a 1 in the chat. So I have Yomi. right? If you can hear me clearly, just leave a one in the chat if you don't have a question. If you have a question, feel free to put that in the chat. Then I have Willie, I have Ubang, I have Tenny, I have Tess, I have Richard, Osei, I have Richard Green, I have Lydia, Johnson, Dami, Simon, right? So just leave a one in the, yes, absolutely. We're going to share the recording. All you have to do is just fill the attendance form, that my colleague has shared. As soon as the recording is available, we'll share that with you. We'll notify you so you can have access to it. All right. Yes, so my colleague just, attached the form again. Okay, so I'm waiting for your questions or your feedback. If you've had a good time so far, you've literally enjoyed yourself, please leave a yes in the chat before we bring the session to a close. If you had a good time, right, kindly leave a yes in the chat. Both from Mary's session, where she showed you how to use AI, right, to this other half of the session. If you had a good time, leave a yes. Absolutely, Richard. Anybody else before we bring the session to a close? So I encourage you, to take advantage of the discount as soon as you can, right? So that you'll be paying less, not paying more than you should have, right? So that being said, we'll bring the session to a close right now. Thank you so much for sticking with us for the past 2 hours. I hope you've had a good time so far. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers and bye for now. Hope to see you in class though. Thank you.